Welcome to Stories Behind the Objects, where we explore the history behind Museum of the Rockies artifacts in 5 minutes or less. Throughout history, women have had to break down barriers in many fields, and that includes music. This uniform belonged to Amelia Millie Chavey Hammer, a euphonium player in the Bozeman Ladies Imperial Band. The Ladies Imperial Band was a women's town brass band formed in 1906, and it's a local example of a nationwide movement during the Golden Age of bands. Throughout the Golden Age of bands, from around 1870 to 1920, many local bands were formed across the country. Having a band in your town was a symbol of culture and a source of entertainment and pride. However, most of these bands were for men only. At the time, bands and playing instruments were considered masculine pursuits, and men had originally formed bands as part of the military. Women were overwhelmingly excluded from joining bands, and so they responded to that discrimination by forming their own. At the time, women and girls who played instruments generally performed parlor music on pianos, organs, or mandolins, or they sang. Women who played percussion or brass instruments were seen as strange and odd, and they were criticized. Composer Gustav Kircher in 1904 said of women musicians, "Women cannot possibly play brass instruments and look pretty, and why should they spoil their looks?"
Well, that's rude.
But in spite of the threat to their looks, women across the country formed brass and percussion bands like the Bozeman Ladies Imperial Band. The Ladies Imperial Band formed in 1906, and we don't know exactly when they stopped playing, but there are photographs until at least 1911. The band was a popular feature at town parades such as the Sweet Pea Carnival Parade. They also played at the annual Elks Convention and the town 4th of July celebration. And, breaking another social standard of the time, the band was even known to play in saloons at a time when women were rarely seen in drinking establishments. Other women's brass bands also formed throughout Montana, including the Red Lodge Ladies Brass Band you see in the picture here, the Belgrade Girls Brass Band, the Boulder Ladies Cornet Band, the Glacier Park Girls Brass Band in Kalispell, and the Missoula Girls Cornet Band. Many women's brass bands wore uniforms that called back to the military beginnings of men's bands, including the uniform you see here. The jacket, skirt, and cap are military-inspired. The cap was from an Ohio company and likely a mail-order purchase, with the jacket and skirt made to match. Inside the jacket is a tag for the Golden Rule Dry Goods Store, an early store in downtown Bozeman. The jacket also has the wearer's name stitched inside, Millie. The skirt is handmade to match the jacket and also features Millie's name inside the waistband. Women's brass bands were also known to perform in all-white dresses or in dark skirts and white blouses, a style that you see in this picture of the Ladies Imperial Band. You can actually see the woman who owned the outfit in the MOR collection in both of these pictures, Amelia Millie Chavey Hammer. Millie was born in Bozeman in 1883 to French immigrant parents, and she lived in the area for her entire life. She went to the local high school, and then she enrolled at the Montana State College of Agriculture and Mechanic Arts in 1897, where she studied domestic science. After college, she worked as a clerk and a bookkeeper in Bozeman, and, for at least a few years, played in the Ladies Imperial Band. She married J.C. Hammer in 1915 and was a housewife for the rest of her life. As a Ladies Imperial Band member, Millie probably didn't know that she was a trailblazer, but she and the rest of the Ladies Imperial Band were a part of a larger movement that made music more inclusive. This effort has continued for decades, as women have slowly made progress on inclusion in military bands during World War II, as marching bands have integrated genders after the passage of Title IX in 1972, and, in more recent history, as women have broken into traditionally male music genres such as rock music and rap.